One complaint too many, one confrontation too far, one moment of misplaced righteousness. That's all it took to separate 5 determined women from becoming cautionary tales about the deadly cost of taking enforcement into your own hands. It was July 4th, 2014, in Coral Gables, Florida. A humid Independence Day afternoon brought families together at a condominium pool while approaching storms, and recent rain had caused minor water intrusion across parts of the complex. Louisa Whitfield worked as a regional coordinator for a healthcare administration company, a role that had developed her need for strict adherence to protocols and her intolerance for what she perceived as safety violations. At 43, she had become known among neighbors as someone who took it upon herself to enforce pool rules and community standards, often approaching families to correct their behavior. According to cell phone footage recorded by residents near the pool and the condo manager's statement, Louisa spent the afternoon arguing with families about children splashing in the pool, claiming their behavior violated community guidelines. Security logs and lobby camera audio captured her refusing to step aside when asked by staff, declaring she was conducting a safety inspection of pool operations. Multiple residents reported her blocking the pool entrance for extended periods while lecturing other families about proper pool etiquette. The confrontation escalated when the pool staff asked Louisa to allow them to handle any safety concerns. Witness statements indicate she became increasingly agitated, demanding immediate access to pool equipment areas to document what she called systematic safety violations. When security personnel arrived and requested she leave the equipment area, Louisa refused to comply, stating she had every right to inspect facilities as a paying resident. After being told she would be escorted off the property if she continued disrupting operations, Louisa moved away from the pool area. Witnesses reported seeing her walk along the pool deck toward service areas, typically used by staff, no longer engaging with residents, before heading toward the adjacent maintenance corridor. Security camera footage later showed Louisa entering the restricted pool equipment room through a maintenance door that had not fully latched after earlier service work. The equipment room housed energized electrical panels controlling pumps, lighting, and chemical dispensing systems, with recent storm damage having caused water intrusion that created puddles on the concrete floor. Post-incident electrical inspection documented standing water throughout the equipment room from recent storm damage. Louisa approached the main electrical control panel while standing in pooled water, attempting to open the control cabinet. Investigators later noted damage consistent with the electrical cabinet being pulled open while energized, despite posted warning labels restricting access. Investigators determined she contacted energized components inside the cabinet while standing in pooled water on the concrete floor. Electrical testing after the incident confirmed a ground fault condition consistent with a severe electrical short at the time of collapse. Electrical current from the energized system passed through Louisa's body to ground via the standing water. She collapsed immediately, with the electrical system automatically shutting down when the fault was detected. A maintenance worker responding to an unexpected pump shutdown discovered Louisa approximately 20 minutes later and immediately called 911. Emergency responders arrived within 8 minutes but found no signs of life. Paramedics attempted resuscitation procedures but were unable to restore vital signs. The medical examiner's report listed electrocution as the cause of death. Investigators confirmed that residents were never permitted to access pool electrical equipment areas, and no records indicated Louisa had authorization to enter the room. HOA records showed that while Louisa had submitted multiple safety complaints over the previous year, these concerns were documented as outside the authority of individual residents. Following the incident, the HOA implemented additional safeguards, including upgraded waterproof enclosures, GFCI systems, and stricter access controls handled exclusively by licensed contractors. From the deadly shock of good intentions gone wrong to the rain-soaked heights of residential oversight, another woman's quest for standards would take her to dangerous heights where wet metal and determination prove a lethal combination. It was February 18th, 2015, in Burlington, Vermont. 6 inches of snow-covered sidewalks as temperatures hovered at 28 degrees Fahrenheit. Inside a public library, evening lighting illuminated shelves and stone floors while a book club met quietly in the main reading area. Janet Morrison, 51, had volunteered at the library for 8 years following her retirement from municipal administration. She approached the role with rigid discipline, treating volunteer duties as an extension of formal authority. Colleagues described her as exacting and inflexible, someone who interpreted library guidelines as rules to be enforced rather than norms to be observed. Over time, she developed strong opinions about noise levels, seating usage, shelving practices, and what she considered appropriate behavior, particularly among younger patrons. That evening, according to multiple witness statements and security footage from the circulation desk area, Janet became fixated on a group of college students seated at large study tables near the reference section. She confronted them directly, insisting they relocate to a far corner of the library that she described as more appropriate for student use, citing what she claimed were priority seating rules for adult patrons. Multiple witnesses reported that she dismissed the students' objections, asserting that long-term volunteers had authority equal to staff, as her voice grew louder when her claims were questioned. When the head librarian intervened and asked Janet to lower her voice and disengage, the situation deteriorated further. Security footage shows Janet positioning herself near the circulation desk in a way that temporarily obstructed patrons attempting to check out materials. Staff again requested that she step away from the floor and take a break from volunteer duties for the evening. Witnesses reported that Janet rejected the request and remained positioned near the circulation desk, continuing to direct patrons despite not being on duty. Rather than leaving, Janet moved deeper into the building toward the reference stacks, telling nearby patrons and book club members that she intended to correct shelving issues she claimed staff had ignored. Book club members later told investigators they could hear her continuing to criticize what she described as declining standards throughout the library. The reference area contained a rolling ladder system installed in the 1960s, used to access high shelving. The ladder had passed routine inspection and bore posted safety notices instructing users to engage wheel brakes and avoid overreaching. Witnesses observed Janet climbing the ladder while carrying several heavy reference volumes, attempting to reposition them according to her own organizational preferences without securing the ladder's wheel brakes. As she leaned beyond the ladder's safe working zone to reach an upper shelf, the ladder rolled laterally across the polished stone floor. Janet lost balance and fell approximately 10 feet, striking the floor as several books tumbled from the ladder and struck the floor nearby. Library staff and book club members immediately called 911 and cleared the surrounding area. Janet was unresponsive following the fall. Emergency responders arrived 14 minutes later, delayed by snow-covered roads. She remained unconscious during transport and was pronounced dead during emergency surgery at the Regional Medical Center due to severe head trauma and intracranial hemorrhage. The medical examiner determined the cause of death to be traumatic brain injury resulting from a fall from height. Investigators found no evidence of mechanical failure in the ladder system. While age-related wear was noted, the equipment was deemed operational. The primary contributing factors were failure to engage safety mechanisms, overreaching, and carrying excessive weight while elevated. Investigators determined that Janet accessed the ladder without authorization after being instructed to disengage from volunteer duties. No mechanical defects or prior safety complaints were found. The library reopened after inspection, restricted volunteer equipment access, and closed the case following the medical examiner's findings. As winter tightened its grip on Vermont, another woman elsewhere would soon learn that insisting on control in the wrong setting can turn ordinary spaces into lethal ones. It was May 9, 2016, in Omaha, Nebraska. A mild morning saw customers entering a mid-sized grocery store as deliveries arrived and refrigeration systems maintained sub-zero temperatures in restricted freezer areas. Brenda Sullivan was 47 and worked in customer service for a regional insurance provider, a job that required daily dispute handling and frequent escalations. Co-workers later described her as persistent and uncompromising when she believed a product or policy failed to meet her standards. Over time, she had developed rigid routines around food quality, particularly dairy products, which she viewed as essential to her personal health practices. According to witness statements and customer cell phone recordings, Brenda became visibly agitated after examining yogurt containers in the refrigerated section. She repeatedly inspected expiration dates, shaking several cups before placing them back on the shelf. Other shoppers later recalled her explaining that yogurt was a daily staple for her. used not only in her diet but also in homemade skincare routines she believed required strict freshness to remain effective. Store employees attempted to reassure her that the products were within date and stored correctly. Witnesses reported that Brenda pointed out condensation inside several yogurt cups and one container with a slightly raised lid, insisting these were signs of spoilage. Her voice carried across the produce area as she accused staff of selling unsafe products, positioning herself in front of the customer service counter and preventing other customers from being assisted while demanding immediate action. When a store manager asked her to lower her voice and leave if she could not conduct herself appropriately, Brenda refused. Store policy allowed management to remove disruptive customers, and a contracted security officer was notified. Instead of complying, Brenda moved quickly toward the rear of the store, pushing through a clearly marked employee-only swing gate. A stock clerk retrieving items for restocking later told investigators he noticed her following several steps behind him, but assumed she would stop at the threshold. The walk-in freezer he entered operated between -5 degrees Fahrenheit and -10 degrees Fahrenheit during cooling cycles and was designed for brief access by trained staff. Earlier that morning, a routine defrost cycle had occurred. Meltwater from the cycle had refrozen around the internal safety release housing, increasing resistance to movement without disabling the mechanism. As designed, the heavy insulated door closed automatically after entry. The clerk exited through a secondary access point moments later, unaware that Brenda had remained inside. Temperature logs and pallet placement later indicated that Brenda moved deeper into the unit, likely attempting to examine stored yogurt cases while wearing only street clothing and a light jacket. Investigators determined that the internal release could still be activated, but required sustained force and hand dexterity. Exposure to sub-zero air rapidly reduced grip strength and coordination. Evidence suggested Brenda attempted to exit but became progressively impaired as hypothermia set in. Approximately 45 minutes later, a routine temperature check showed the walk-in freezer slightly outside its normal operating range. When staff inspected the unit and recalled the earlier disturbance involving a customer entering restricted areas, the manager unlocked the freezer using an override key and found her unconscious inside. Emergency responders arrived within 7 minutes. Rewarming procedures began immediately, and Brenda was transported to a regional medical center. Despite continued aggressive warming efforts, she was pronounced dead approximately 2 hours later. The medical examiner listed hypothermia as the cause of death, with cardiac arrhythmia as the terminal event. The investigation found no mechanical failure in the freezer door or safety release. While ice accumulation was noted, the system was deemed operational. Contributing factors included unauthorized access, unsuitable clothing, prolonged exposure, and reduced physical capacity during cold stress. Store management later implemented additional safeguards, including heated release housings, clearer restricted area enforcement, and revised staff procedures during customer disturbances. We've got 2 more shocking Karen encounters ahead, so hit that subscribe button if you want to see just how far their obsessions can go. It was August 23, 2017, a scorching Tuesday afternoon in San Diego, California, with temperatures reaching 89 degrees under dry inland winds. The fitness center operated at peak capacity during the lunch hour rush. The weight floor buzzed with movement as members cycled rapidly through machines, free weights, and cardio stations, navigating tight spaces between sets. Lisa Rodriguez, 44, worked in corporate training for a consulting firm. Witnesses described her as visibly out of shape and new to regular gym attendance, having joined only weeks earlier. Several members noted that she appeared easily frustrated and frequently directed criticism toward younger, more physically fit women, particularly when they used equipment she seemed to be waiting for. According to multiple witness statements and front desk security audio, the incident began after a younger female member began using a cable machine Lisa had been watching from nearby. Witnesses reported Lisa approaching the woman almost immediately, accusing her of improper use and claiming the equipment should have been left available. Her voice carried across the weight area as she criticized the woman's form and gym etiquette, continuing even as the member attempted to disengage. Witnesses reported that Lisa moved toward the front desk and attempted to report the younger woman, claiming she had mishandled equipment and damaged the cable machine. Front desk staff reviewed the situation and declined to remove the member after nearby patrons stated the equipment had been used properly. Several witnesses later noted that Lisa continued disputing the decision before returning to the weight floor, visibly agitated. The cable machine the younger woman had just used remained loaded and unattended between sets. Witnesses observed Lisa step into the space around it, gesturing toward the equipment while criticizing its prior use. After several nearby members paused or moved away, Lisa placed her hands on the handle and began inspecting the cable assembly herself. The cable crossover machine featured adjustable pulleys connected to stacked weights under constant tension. Witnesses observed Lisa standing directly beneath the elevated pulley, lifting the handle above shoulder height while examining the cable connection. During the subsequent inspection, investigators identified previously undetected internal wire fatigue within the cable assembly. The damage was not externally visible and had developed over time, weakening the cable's structural integrity. As Lisa applied downward force to the elevated handle, the compromised cable failed near the upper pulley. The sudden loss of tension caused the handle to recoil upward along the cable path with significant force. Witnesses reported that the recoiling handle struck Lisa in the head before she could react. Lisa collapsed immediately, striking the floor and losing consciousness. Blood pooled beneath her head as nearby members shouted for assistance. Staff called 911 and cleared the surrounding area. Emergency medical services arrived within 6 minutes and found Lisa unresponsive with extensive craniofacial trauma. Paramedics transported her by ground to the nearest Level 1 trauma center. Hospital records indicate she died approximately 4 hours later from complications related to severe traumatic brain injury. The medical examiner determined the cause of death to be blunt force trauma to the head resulting from a cable failure during unauthorized interaction with active equipment. Investigators noted she had not been instructed to manipulate or demonstrate equipment handling and that the machine was in use prior to her involvement. The fitness center temporarily closed the affected area for inspection before reopening. Officials stated the incident resulted from unsafe interference with loaded equipment rather than standard gym use. Investigators concluded that the death resulted from unauthorized interaction with loaded equipment and a compromised cable assembly. No staff member had instructed her to manipulate the machine. The case was closed following equipment inspection and review. As the summer heat lingered over Southern California, another woman elsewhere would soon discover that enforcing rules outside one's authority can turn ordinary environments into fatal ones. It was November 14, 2018, a cool autumn evening in Atlanta, Georgia, with temperatures dropping to 58 degrees and light rain creating slick conditions throughout the city. A multi-building apartment complex buzzed with maintenance activity as a crew worked to complete seasonal gutter cleaning on the 4-story brick buildings. Sharon Davis managed residential properties for a regional real estate company, bringing 15 years of experience to her role. At 49, she had developed a reputation among contractors for frequently intervening in active work areas, disputing safety boundaries, and pressuring crews to reduce or skip breaks in order to accelerate work. Residents reported that she routinely threatened contractors with termination during disputes over pace and performance. Maintenance logs and crew statements documented Sharon's involvement that day as she confronted the gutter cleaning team about what she described as excessive downtime. The crew supervisor's incident report noted her demands for employee names and corporate contact information, along with threats to have the entire crew fired. Residents observed Sharon blocking the maintenance truck while refusing to allow workers to leave the property. The confrontation escalated when the crew chief asked Sharon to step back from the work area for safety reasons. Witness statements indicate she became increasingly aggressive, declaring that as property manager, she had authority over all contractors and would not be told where she could stand. When the supervisor explained that company policy required maintaining safe distances, Sharon dismissed his concerns and stated the rules did not apply to her. Security footage shows Sharon standing beneath the active work area after moving aside caution tape. The aging but code-compliant fire escape showed surface corrosion as workers continued clearing gutters above. Sharon climbed the metal stairs to the third-floor landing, approximately 22 feet above the concrete courtyard below. The light rain had coated the steel grating with a thin film of water, and small puddles had formed in shallow depressions along the platform. Each step produced a dull metallic sound as her shoes contacted the wet surface. Crew members later reported becoming increasingly concerned as she remained within the work zone, standing beneath suspended tools and debris while gesturing upward. Post-incident inspection revealed that the handrail along the landing showed surface rust and flaking paint. While structurally intact, the painted metal had become slick from moisture, offering limited grip. Sharon remained near the edge of the platform, continuing to dispute the crew's positioning and pace while shifting her stance repeatedly on the wet grating. According to crew statements, Sharon moved closer to the outer edge as she gestured, briefly turning her body toward the courtyard below. As she adjusted her footing, her shoe lost traction on the damp metal surface. She slipped suddenly, reaching for the handrail as her balance gave way, but the slick surface prevented her from regaining control. She fell over the edge of the platform, striking the concrete courtyard below. Crew members immediately called 911 while attempting basic first aid. Emergency responders arrived within approximately 10 minutes of the 911 call, finding Sharon unconscious with multiple fractures and severe internal trauma. Hospital records indicate Sharon underwent emergency surgery to control internal bleeding. Despite aggressive intervention, she died approximately 6 hours after the accident from complications related to internal hemorrhage. The medical examiner's report listed multiple blunt force trauma as the primary cause of death. No structural failure of the fire escape was found. The accident resulted from loss of footing on wet metal surfaces, while the victim refused to maintain safe positioning despite multiple warnings. Property management responded by installing permanent barriers during future maintenance operations and implementing mandatory safety briefings for all management staff. Investigators concluded the incident resulted from a refusal to follow established safety boundaries during active maintenance operations. Thanks for watching. Want to see more? Click on your screen now.